the triumphant return of Mr. Quattrone. How are you, man?
Doing well.
I really
Doing
appreciate
well.
you coming back on, dude. It really does mean a lot.
Well, it's good to be back. This is like this. We're getting into the real shit here.
Yeah, this is where you go to find the real answers, right here.
Yeah.
This is it. Reddit loves it, dude. So
It's funny. I at our Pappy and Harriet show a couple weeks ago, some dude came up to me after the show, and he was just like, Vineyard podcast alumni. I was like, are you on the podcast? He's like, no. All right. Well, good talking to you.
Sick, dude. Well, yeah. I mean,
sick, dude. All right, take care. I think there's more of your fans than our fans now.
Yeah, it's really yeah, they're coming out of the woodwork finally. They're like, yeah, we're coming to support. We don't know the music too well, but we know the podcast and we love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome to hear, man. Yeah, dude, but I really liked the last one that we did, and I know I'm gonna like this one even more. I think we're gonna do a better job.
Don't jinx it. I'm gonna knock on wood.
I don't have any wood, but you know what? I trust in us because we always have a good rapport.
Here, I'll do this one too. Now I got both those.
Boom, back to back.
Boom.
Paul, I wanted to ask you, man.
Sure.
Why the desert? You know.
Well, mostly for practical reasons, because I wanted to buy a house, but I couldn't afford anything in LA. But I could have gone closer, but I have a lot of friends out here, and there is like a tight-knit community of weirdos and musicians and artists amongst all the Trumpies. And there's a lot of there's this article that came out in New York Times yesterday about something. There's like 1,800 Airbnbs in Joshua Tree. So there's like a lot of tourists that you can spot with their like Zorro hats and like Mexican blanket ponchos, and they're all like, you can tell they're tourists because everything's really clean. Like if you see anybody wearing like a bright white, they're not from here.
Right.
But yeah, I played shows out here over the years. I first came out here maybe like 12 years ago. And I always kind of figured I'd end up here sooner or later, but when the time came, I was just like, I got a good loan. It was like a loan that encourages people to move out to rural areas. So I thought I was like a few years away from doing that too. I didn't think I'd have enough in my bank account, but I got in just the nick of time, because since the pandemic, like every motherfucker has moved out here and everything's just like skyrocketed.
Yeah, you're like
the last cheap house.
You're dealing on the Homestead Act. They're bringing people back out there. That is really cool though, that you're like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna take a chance and just move where not a lot of people are, or at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not things aren't as happening as LA, for obvious reasons, but there are like new venues opening up and new bars, and I commute to LA pretty often. I'm going there tomorrow, and I'll just drive 2 hours, go to practice, drive 2 hours back, and I listen to music. It's actually nice. It's like some alone time,
Yeah, I mean, do you enjoy it though? I mean, like, do you genuinely enjoy the drive? I
do. I kind of, after a week or so of doing it, it gets to be pretty tedious, and I start driving like a maniac. Like I'll drive 90 miles an hour almost the entire way. Just like swerving in and out of cars and honking. Nobody fucking honks out here. It's crazy.
The interesting thing about honking, and I've felt this in my own life recently, is that I've been cut off a lot more often now, and like just like people like swerving and stuff, and I don't honk. And I then like I think about it after it sounds like, why didn't I honk? I'm just like, whoa. I just verbally do whoa, and I don't know.
Maybe it's an East Coast thing. It's like I think they teach it to you when you're getting your learner's permit. You know, if somebody pulls some bullshit move, like you lay on the horn.
Right. I mean, if you don't do that, you're getting points deducted. I mean, that's a
yeah,
mark.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, nobody honks out here. So when you do, it's like, how dare you?
Jarring. It's jarring.
Yeah, I love it.
What was your
Fucking
first
California
car?
mellows. What's up?
Yeah. No, that's true. It doesn't matter where you go. They're always going to be there. There's going to be some person there.
Yeah.
What was your first car? What was the very first car you owned?
I had a 1988 Volvo 240, like the super boxy kind with like the grill headrest.
Yeah.
And dude, I lived in this house in Pittsburgh for like 13 years. This kind of punk house, and I left to go on tour. I went to Australia. I left on a Thursday, and like my street didn't have any street parking or anything like that. You could just park there indefinitely. It's totally fine. And so I left on a Thursday. The next morning, my roommate emailed me because I didn't have a cell phone at the time. I was like, hey, they just sent all these letters to people on the street saying that they're gonna pave the street on Monday and that everybody needs to move their car, and if you don't, it's gonna get towed. And I only had one key, and so they towed it, and I was gone for like a month. And by the time I got back, the amount that I would have to pay to get it back, like I could have just bought a new car for cheaper. So yeah, Pittsburgh stole my car.
You go, fuck it, keep it, it's yours. Fine.
Yeah, I just want all the tapes that were in there.
What were some tapes out of that car that you really were enjoying? If you could think about it.
I remember it was mostly Grateful Dead bootlegs and like some like early 90s rap.
Tight. A good collection.
Just you have something for every mood.
Yeah, you gotta have it in there. Do you have like one of those boxes, or was it just like strewn about, like, oh, hand me that LL Cool J that's on the floor?
A little bit of yeah. I remember I had like 2 little travel cases, and then yeah, there's probably a bunch just on the front seat of the car.
That's where that goes. You take it out, and then you have the little holder, and you just go, that's nobody's sitting there, so that's where it's gonna go. That's just the way it happens.
Exactly. That actually reminds me of so this band I was in Pittsburgh, we toured in this really shitty, it was like a 1985 Chevy. It was like a souped up passenger van, but it had like captain seats. It looked like a piece of shit, but it was a fucking tank, and those seats are super comfortable. And
is it the one that swiveled, by the way, like swiveled like
oh yeah
the captain's chairs?
That thing those seats would lay almost horizontal. It was so comfy. I don't think I've traveled in a vehicle that comfortable since. But one day it got stolen, and my bandmate, whose name the car was under, called us and was like, hey, did one of you guys take the van? Like, no. Oh fuck, I think somebody stole it. And so like filed a police report. It was long gone. And then like a month later, he got a random call from the police saying they found the van, but it's been completely ransacked. He's like, you can come and check it out if you want, but it's just totally ransacked. And so he like went down to the yard and he looked inside. He was like, it was actually exactly the way we left it. Just totally trashed. But like, you know, we had to what did we have? We had to replace the steering column, and that was it. And then we were able to like take it on tour again.
Nah, man, I smoke Camel Lights. Those are my butts. Yeah. That's amazing, dude.
I still have them. You can have them back.
Yeah. Can you actually hand me that halfie real quick? I'm gonna restart.
I just want 2 puffs. That's it.
All right. Yeah, and then we'll straighten everything out. What were some other tapes that were that you listened to a lot when you first started driving around?
I think at that
even
point,
post the Volvo as well, if that
because I had I think at that point I had, because I never owned a car up until that point. That was like 2006. I swear I had never owned a car before then. I never really needed one. And I would just ride my bike all over Pittsburgh.
No phone,
So
no,
yeah,
no
no,
car.
I didn't get a phone until 2008, and it was only because I got bitched out by my band. They're like, you need to get a fucking phone or you're out of this band. All right.
Just send me the email, dude. I'm at the library.
Yeah.
Like I got a computer over
Leave a
there.
message. I got a fucking answering machine. No, at that car had a tape player, but I had an iPod and like one of those cassette adapters.
Mm-hmm.
But I had like all of my tapes from high school, like weird mixtapes and stuff, all kinds of shit. Tapes are hard to get rid of sometimes, especially like I said, those mixtapes. There's a lot of sentimental value attached to them, and like that Public Enemy tape I told you about. I bought that tape when I was in 5th grade. You know, like that meant more to me than the car in hindsight.
Dang, dude. And then now Discogs, it's just fucking ramped up in price. Not worth
Do
it.
people actually buy tapes from Discogs?
No, I don't know. Maybe.
All right,
Actually,
yeah, because I see them listed. I'm like, who the fuck buys like a tape or a CD on Discogs?
I feel like I talked to somebody that had bought a cassette tape off of Discogs. Yeah,
That's some comic book nerd shit. You don't need to buy tapes off Discogs.
Did you ever do CDs or no?
I mean, yeah, I always hated CDs, so I think I only have like I have a couple box sets that I saved, but I don't think I have any CDs at all. I have a box of like I have so much stuff in storage right now, and I know I have a box of mostly tapes and maybe like a few random CDs.
How often are you putting on records to play?
All the time.
That's the main mode. That's the main mode of what you're listening to. Got it.
Because I'm starting to renovate my house right now, and so I just spent all week just emptying out. It's like I'm moving basically. I just emptied out everything in my house. But there's one tiny room that's finished, which I was using as a dining room, but I cleared that out and I just put in all of my plants and all of my records. And I'm like, I think I kind of want to keep it like this. I like put some nice colored light bulbs in it, and it's like I keep falling asleep I have like a little lounge chair in there. Like I want to live in this room forever.
You just shut it off. Like that's just the room. Like everything else, yeah, I have other rooms, but I'm not using those. This is the room.
Exactly, yeah. Because I can't put, if I put my records in the storage space out here, it's about to be in like 2 months, it's going to be over 100 degrees.
No way.
And there's no windows, so all my plants would die if I put them in storage. So my records and plants are getting along. It's like an instant bond.
It's a good environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, ecosystem in there.
Have you ever been to Graceland?
No.
Do you have you ever seen pictures of it?
I mean, yeah, like on a documentary or something like that.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
So there's this one room Elvis had called the Jungle Room. And that was like, as I was putting all the plants in there and the lights, I was like, this kind of looks like the Jungle Room. And now I straight up want a bigger version of this.
You're just recreating it, dude.
I'm kind of, yeah, like I need like a waterfall and some more like green light bulbs and amber light bulbs and just like a rock wall, like with plants coming out of that too.
Oh yeah, dude. Just full bore.
Yeah, knotted wood furniture.
Waterfall's a sick move.
Yeah,
in the house for sure.
That's like some next level engineering.
Yeah. What's the I mean, like, because in LA there's always like those multi-million-dollar houses, but some of them don't look. It just looks like a regular fucking house, like it's like that's whatever 3.5 mil. I don't.
I mean, tell me about it. It's kind of depressing if you're looking for a house and you live in LA, because like something that's out of your budget is a place that you would never want to live in. Like something for like 800,000. You're like, oh, I wouldn't rent this place if I had to. Yeah, come out to the desert.
The prices are just insane. It's crazy.
Yeah.
If you didn't live in the desert and you didn't live in LA, where would be like all right, I would try this place out, what would that third place be?
That's a good question. I was spending time in Tucson a lot over the past year because my bandmate Vashi was living there, and I really liked it. It kind of, I feel like there's just as much going on here in Joshua Tree as there is in Tucson. I hope that doesn't offend anybody, but like,
If you said that
really
shit about Scottsdale, it'd be a problem. I know that there'd be some real issues.
Or
The
Tempe.
Tucson at school.
Tempe, man, you don't fuck with Tempe.
No way.
She just moved back to LA because she just couldn't really get anything going there, and which is good for us because now we're like a functioning band again, which is cool.
Yeah, it's always a good sign when you guys are in the same state, at least. I mean, that's
a
step in the right direction.
Yeah, it helps.
Does your writing mode of writing or how you write differ in each project that you're in, or is it kind of all encompassing, like I'm trying to just make music?
Yeah, I mean, with OCs it's a lot of jamming, like full band jamming, but I will send John beats, whether it's stuff that I play, because I have like a couple nice mics and an interface, and I can get like a pretty crude drum recording sounding pretty good. And so like I'll play a beat and then pan it and then play another beat on top of it and pan it. So it's like I'll do a lot of that, and then he'll come up with riffs over it, but mostly it's just us jamming together in a room. And then with Warm Drag, it's mostly I have playlists full of, I have like a 60-hour playlist of stuff I want to sample. Because like I can't passively listen to music anymore. Every time, like no matter if it's something I don't even like, I'll be like, oh, I like this little drum break in here, or like this weird little noise interlude. So I have that playlist, and then I have a playlist of like just drum breaks, like opening drum breaks or drum fills somewhere in the song. So sometimes I'll just start with the drum loop and like kind of just, it's like putting together a piece of puzzle. Like I'll always start with a loop, whether it's a drum loop or a loop from like a song, an old song, and I'll just kind of build off of that. And oftentimes I won't even use the original loop that started the whole thing. I'll just start like layering stuff and then slowly taking stuff out, and then it becomes a totally new thing that I like didn't envision at all. Just kind of, you know, you just follow.
Right. Like an idea branches off into something else, which is sick too. Definitely.
Just endless fucking with stuff. But now like Vashi and I are going to record sometime this summer, so I'm kind of like, now I actually have a deadline. So instead of, I have this thing I do where I'll like come up with like a minute or like a loop of something really cool, or like a minute's worth of like a cool idea, but I'll never flesh it out. So I have like literally like 100 of these fucking things. And then I'll play them for Vashi, and she'll be like, I like this one, this one, this one. And then it doesn't ever go anywhere until we're like, let's come up with a new song for a show. Like I need a deadline. And so we're going to record this summer, and now I'm like finally putting stuff together.
It's awesome. That's good. But you're the kind of person that needs something like, it's like, this is the due date on this.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta have something done at this point.
Exactly. And then I'll procrastinate until like 3 days before, and then just spend like, I won't sleep, and I'll just get in a manic zone and just come up with stuff like right there.
Do you feel like fun. Do you feel like that kind of brings out like an idea that you would have never had if you had proper time to, again, like flesh out an idea? Totally.
And sometimes I'm like, how did I even come up with that? And again, it's like just getting in that manic panic state of like, it's seriously, it's like school flashbacks.
I was
where
gonna
like
say that I was gonna ask, like, is that how you dealt with school too? It's like, oh
totally,
shit.
totally. I like the first time I ever took Adderall, I never even heard of it. Somebody gave it to me, and I saved. I was like, I'm probably gonna need this someday. And then I had this 19th century Russian literature class, and
Sick.
we read War and Peace, and
That's a long book.
I know, man. And so I basically I wrote this 18-page paper on War and Peace in one night. Didn't sleep at all. I like I was still working on it. I think it was like a 10 a.m. class, and like 9:50 I was still like finishing it, and I got an A-.
Wow.
And I think I got an A- because I didn't have time to proofread it, but I was in the zone. It's like I hate that I'm like that, but that's kind of that's how I come up with it.
That's just how it happens. It works.
It sucks. I fucking hate it, but
it works. It may suck, but it works, Paul. That's the important part of this.
Because I'm normally like a pretty mellow dude, but I don't know, to like this music that we're making, to piece stuff together, I feel like I need to get in this super manic state that's not myself, that only lasts for a little bit, and then I can like chill.
It's
just go by myself in a room and just go fucking crazy for like 3 or 4 days, and then everything's cool.
All that mellowness, it just builds up, and then you gotta make something, and then it's back to
exactly
levelness.
And then and stay out of my way, or I'll slit your fucking throat.
That's it. You're done. But other than that, dude, super mellow, super cool. Just hanging back.
Mad chill, bro.
So I mean, like even in high school, was that the same? I mean, not with Adderall, or maybe you were referring to a high school class of
no,
War and Peace.
That was college.
Yeah, I figured.
I didn't know about Adderall in high school. High school was mostly acid for me, which is kind of insane to think about in hindsight. And there's probably some like long-lasting damage to my brain, but yeah, it was easier to get than weed or alcohol.
Really?
Like
acid more than anything else.
Oh my god, yeah. Like my friend's brother would go on Grateful Dead tour.
Oh,
and then come back with like sheets of acid, and that's what we would do.
That's when the true drugs roll in, is when the Grateful Dead comes to town.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, it really, like, have you ever heard of this book, Heads?
No.
It's written by this guy, Jesse Jarnow. It's a great book, just about LSD culture, psychedelic culture in America since like I think the late 40s, all the way up to like 2015. But like in the 80s and 90s, Grateful Dead tour was like where LSD was trafficked. That was like the primary source of like people who dealt it and people who bought it. It was all on Grateful Dead tour.
Yeah, how do you feel about Grateful Dead? I mean, like you said that you had the
I love them.
The bootlegs.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it now, being Dead and Company?
I haven't seen them. I'm sure it's corny as fuck, but I would go because the drummers, Mickey and Billy, I think, like, just the stuff that I've heard, they're doing, there's always this part in the second set of a Grateful Dead show or Dead and Company show where the drummers, everybody leaves except for the two drummers, and they do kind of like a drum jam, and then they just go off into like weird experimental noise zones. Like Mickey has this thing called the beam, which is this giant, I want to say it's like maybe like 7 or 8 feet long. It's like it's got a bunch of piano strings on it, and he hits it with this metal rod, and it's just this giant drone machine. It's pretty fucking amazing. So I would go for the parking lot hang and just to see that. And I'm sure it's like a lot of fun, like drink some beers and just people watch. But right. Musically, I would go and like key in on that for sure.
I like that you're like, yeah, okay, the music's great. I'd love to see that, but also I'm gonna hang out in the parking lot for a little bit. I'm gonna
Oh
see
yeah,
what's what.
yeah, man. That would be like just a people watch. I actually did go to the before the John Mayer thing. They had it was called Fare Thee Well, and it was like a 50th anniversary the Grateful Dead celebration. There were like a few shows in Santa Clara and then a few in Chicago. I went to the Santa Clara ones, and it was actually really cool. It was at like the football stadium, and it was, especially the first night, they just did like, I don't think they played anything that was written after 1970 or 71. So it
Wow.
was all like, that's like my shit with the Grateful Dead. But they in that second set, when they did like the drummers did the Space Jam, it was insane because there were like 60,000 people there, and they were basically doing this like ambient noise. It was like a 20-minute ambient noise jam that was really, really psychedelic, and it was in front of a stadium full of 60,000 people, just totally keyed in. Most people were like super quiet and just like dialed in, and I was like, that's never ever gonna happen again with any, like, I mean, that's like the level of somebody like Taylor Swift, like, where are you gonna get that many people totally dialed into something like that ever again? Like, I just can't see that ever happening on
Right.
that large of a scale.
Yeah,
It's pretty mind-blowing. And that many people all on psychedelics too. It's like, I wasn't on psychedelics, but you can, if you're around enough people who are tripping, you kind of just feel like it, you know
yeah, that's
it's
the
cool.
vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I would go see Dead and Company, because I bet it'd just be fun.
60,000 people, man. That's a lot of people there.
Yeah, I
Wow.
have some amazing videos. That was the night when there was like a rainbow above the stage, um just like appeared out of nowhere, and everybody was like, whoa. And then one of their lighting guys, I guess he got in some trouble because he made some tweet or joked about to the press that it was actually like man-made, that they made it, and so everybody thought it was like this. He was just fucking around, but people actually believed him. He's like, it wasn't man-made. There's no way we could ever do something like that. I have a really cool video that I took. I should send it to you.
Yeah, dude, please. I'd love to see it. I saw Dead and Company twice. It was. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. It's like I'm not like the biggest Deadhead, but like I do like it, and it was cool. I was with my parents, and that was
That's
cool.
cool. My parents are boomers. My dad hates the Grateful Dead, but a lot of boomers are just, they're not deadheads, but they'll like and appreciate the Grateful Dead. You know, um, like, yeah, Jerry, he's all right. He's pretty cool. He's a cool dude.
You started a new project, the Drums and Wires, with Nick Murray.
Yeah.
Is that kind of
Um,
in the same vein of that kind of just exploration and
kind of,
sound?
yeah. Yeah, actually, I didn't even make that connection. It totally is. Um, we played one show, and just I've been so fucking busy. Um, in fact, like, we were just texting yesterday because he wants to record this summer. Um, it was a lot of fun, and Nick is one of my favorite drummers. Um,
Yeah.
so he was like just on drums and percussion, and he had this insane rototom unit that he got at some music shop, and it had, I want to say, like 13 rototoms. It's like some crazy guy made it, like welded all these pieces of metal. It's like, you know, like 4 rototom kits in one. It's one huge rack. It's like a
Wow.
pain in the ass to carry around, but it
Yeah.
looks amazing. And he had that, and like these like gamelan bells, and then his regular drum kit. So he was doing that, and then I had a kick, snare, and hi-hat, and I was doing like, I had these electronic drum pads hooked up to this like electronic drum brain. It has all these like electronic drum sounds that sound kind of cheesy on their own, but when you put them through guitar pedals, like a distortion and delay, then it just sounds wild. So it's like a lot of just like rhythmic noise. It's cool. I wish I could. I wish I could just clone myself, and just like do all these projects full time,
Yeah.
and then have like an extra clone of myself just like going out and partying.
Yeah, and then like one just like has to live in the 72-hour window of being stressed
Oh my
and
god,
creating, and then
that's
the
like,
rest is just mellow.
god, yeah, that's like the punishment clone.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you drew the short straw. What do you want, man? Yeah.
Get to work.
Yeah, dude, it's time. I saw that picture that you posted though of the just like the kind of upper shot of everything. It looked wild.
Yeah,
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 super super cool stuff going on.
yeah. We'll get that going again once I my schedule kind of mellows out, because I'm like going to LA. We're playing in LA next Friday, or was it Friday or Saturday? I think Saturday at
You
the
guys are? Oh,
or
sick.
no, sorry, at the OCs are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was following you. All right.
Um
Well,
at
that's
the
fucking awesome.
Viper Room, which is
Ooh.
gonna be ridiculous. So I'm gonna commute all week, but in the morning before I leave, I have to demo my house. So it's like wake up at 7, basically just like take a fucking sledgehammer to shit, tear out drywall. I'm gonna set an alarm for 11, and then just like, all right, I'm done, and then get in my car and drive to LA, and then practice, and then drive home. That's my schedule for this week.
You're a lucky guy, Paul.
No, I don't. That's. I feel I'm like too old to be doing shit like that, but I have to. I have no other option.
Yeah, you got to create that whatever it was called, the jungle room. You got to recreate
Yeah,
that.
that's the thing. Yeah, that's like the light at the end of the tunnel. It's like I get the fucking jungle room.
And like if that doesn't happen, then what is this all for? Like, what are we doing here?
Nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
just fucking biding my time.
But with the drums and wires, man, with Nick Murray, I mean, like he's one of the best drummers.
He really is.
And if the listeners don't know that name, you'll know what he's played on, because he's played on a bunch of different stuff, and he's just fantastic.
Yeah, like White Fence. Played on the Mutilator OC's album, which is like one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, a
He's
bunch
on
of
a
stuff
couple
at
of the.
Ty.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
He's a drummer about town.
Yeah, he's a man, a drummer, all of it about town. He's living a kink song.
And a nice guy.
Yeah, I gotta get him on. I gotta.
You should actually. I'll
Yeah.
Next time I talk to him, I'll tell him.
Well, I
He'd be
appreciate
good.
it.
He's got some stories.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, yeah, I've chatted with him a couple times. He's been a very nice guy, definitely, super, super nice. And we'll discuss you on her and his, so it's kind of equal, So
Yeah, I'm
like,
gonna tell him I talk so much shit.
we gotta get those listener rates up, Paul. So yeah, tell everybody, like, I don't know, crazy shit.
Yeah, he killed a man once.
That's I mean, I heard about that, and that's it's interesting, but I don't want to talk about it now.
Yeah. What's up, FBI?
Yeah, I mean they're listening.
They're listening. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
they know me.
Oh, you're an informant. You're on the inside. Yeah. Okay, Paul. Cool.
All that LSD talk.
Yeah, dude. I love the fucking Grateful Dead. Yeah. All right. You freaking narc, dude. You're out there for the parking lot for different reasons. Okay.
Who's got the joints, kids? All right.
Hey, you guys shooting up some drugs? What's going on?
Who's got the dope?
Night party. What has been some albums that have been crucial to the way that you view music?
That's a good question. I
appreciate it, Paul.
For me personally, the way I create music, I would say that first Suicide record. Because I until I got a sampler, I was never able to like compose music or like come up with anything that resembled the song. I was just a drummer. But like, that first Suicide record is just, it's a drum machine. It's a guy playing really simple, repetitive keyboard lines that don't have any key changes and a singer. It's like, that's a band and it works. And so like you could have something that simple and it's super inspiring. And every time I'm like, if I'm working on a sampler or if I'm working with Ableton and I'm like, this shit's getting too complicated, I just think of Suicide and I'm like, just scale it back, strip it down, like tear everything back down, like, because sometimes like, and every time I do that, I'm like, I find like that sweet spot where I like take everything out and I have like a beat and some like really cool sound and that's it. Like this song right here, it doesn't have to be any more than this,
Strip it down to
have
its
to hit a vibe.
bare form.
Yeah. So
It's
yeah,
good.
that album I would say first and foremost.
And then of course the Public Enemy that you're gonna buy on
Hell yeah.
Discogs.
Actually, no, that Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. Actually, I would put that up there too, because, and it's kind of the opposite of Suicide, where it's like, the Bomb Squad production team, they're just like layering all kinds of crazy shit on top of it. And there'll be like a sample that might come in for like a split second. And it's just like this labyrinth of noise. Sometimes it's just straight up noise, and like, do you ever read those 33 and a third books?
No. What is that?
It's like a series of books written, each book is written by a different author about a different album. And so, and sometimes the books about some of my favorite albums aren't that good. It depends on who the author is. Like the My Bloody Valentine Loveless one is really good because it mostly talks about the process and all the like weird recording tricks, like Kevin Shields used a sampler on a lot of that shit, like recording himself playing guitar and then chopping up all these feedback snippets and then making new patterns out of that. So everybody thought he was playing like these crazy feedback guitar lines. It's actually like played on a sampler.
Wow.
So all these little things that are like revealing, those are my favorite parts of those books. But the Public Enemy one was really cool because those guys, like, they're so ahead of their time, and they had like samplers in 1989 and 1988 only had like, you could only sample like a tiny, I think it was like 1 or 2 seconds. But they figured out if you just reduce the bit rate, make it like kind of lower quality, you can get a longer sample. And so like they use longer samples, and then they have all this like weird hiss, digital, fucked up, like it's almost, I can't really just, it's like a digital noise, almost like a weird distortion.
Right.
It's like
right.
all over the album, but it makes it really cool, and like all these tricks, like they had these ideas and they didn't have the technology, like the technology didn't exist, but they had these ideas that they just wanted to get out there, and they just figure it out. They're like, all right, well, can't do it like this. Maybe if we fuck with this, okay, that works, like, so that, yeah, it's really inspiring.
Always
And also,
finding
like,
ways around
yeah,
to do something, to get something
yeah,
accomplished.
I'd say those 2 albums for sure.
Are you an avid reader?
Sometimes I go through periods. I haven't done, I just have been so busy that at night when I'm ready to go to sleep, I go to sleep. I'm like, I hit a wall, I'm gonna lay down, and within like 5 minutes I'm out.
That's good. That's like nice. Just 5 minutes. I mean, that's pretty quick turnaround.
It is, yeah. Well, because I only sleep like 5 or 6 hours a night,
And then you're back up again.
and I'm back up.
Why is it only 5 or 6 hours? Do you feel like that's enough? Like I don't need the full 8 or whatever?
I would love to sleep 8 hours. Every now and then I do, but it's so rare. It's just I don't know. It's kind of, when I turned 40, I got a checkup, and I was telling the doctor, like, hey, I only get like 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night. I think I have a problem. Should I get like some sort of prescription? He's like, yeah, you're 40 now. You just should get used to it. All right.
Are you the kind of guy that needs something in the background to help them sleep, or are you just like silence and everything?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I'll put on like oftentimes I should say, I'll put on it's like a boring podcast just to kind of lull me to sleep.
Speaking of that, you could put on this one just to fall asleep too. This is the perfect one.
No, this is gonna keep me up.
Not you, Paul, the listeners. Right. I told you I gotta get these numbers up, man.
No, well, okay. I would say if you're trying to stay awake and you're on a long car trip at night, like listen to this podcast. Because listen to our voices, we're very animated right now. Like those podcasts where it's somebody describe. Have you ever heard of that one called How Stuff Works?
Yes.
I usually put that one on when I need to fall asleep because it's something that's like engaging enough where I'm interested in it, but then they start getting into all these technical aspects and they kind of, talk like this. It's very monotone. And then I fall asleep because I can't do those like those YouTube videos where it's, like hypnotizing you to sleep or something where it's like the purpose of it is to try and put you to sleep. And I'm like, I feel too pressured. I'm like, I'm not doing it right. But if I just listen to somebody kind of like in a monotone voice, literally telling me how something works, then I feel like I'm in school again and I just check out and go to sleep.
It's done.
Yeah.
War and Peace? No way. I'm going to sleep.
Yeah. I wish I saved that paper actually, just to reread it.
That would have been fantastic, dude. Just to see what you
dude, I should publish that shit, huh?
My dissertation on War and Peace. That'd be really interesting to see. Because I mean, how long ago was that? When did you write that paper?
That was I want to say, I think it was my freshman year, so it was like 1997.
So 97, and let's say that you had to write that same paper, that same format, everything now in 2022. Do you think that you would say the same stuff that you did back then?
Oh my God, no! I would just drop out. I was straight up like, no, I'm done. Nope. Like I still have stress dreams about. I have stress dreams about college every now and then, just like not being able to keep up. Like I put all this time and effort into this one paper, but then I turn it in. All right, cool. Now I have like 4 more papers I gotta write. Like, yeah. Those don't happen as much. Yeah. Do you have them?
No, I mean sometimes, but it's not with like school. I feel like I forgot something. Like I forgot that I said I would do something for somebody, but that's like very rarely that I would like, remember that dream. Like when you wake up, you're like, oh, like what was that kind of dream about? That's the kind of thing. Like I was supposed to pick somebody up from the airport or something like that.
That is, I've been in that position. I have this recurring stress dream that's like music related where it's almost always the same. Like it'll be any band I've ever been in, but like we go out on stage, it's this big important show, and we go out on stage and like the drums aren't set up.
Ooh.
And like everybody's just like, come on, fucking hurry, like, and so I'm like frantically trying to put my drums together, and then like I get like the hi-hat stand set up, and then I'm like putting my snare on snare stand, but then the hi-hat stand falls apart and I'm trying to like fix this thing, and then one by one people in the crowd just start leaving.
Oh.
And then like I'm like, seriously, I can't. This is I at least like once every other month I have this fucking dream.
Wow, that's like really recurring.
By the time it really is, yeah. And then by the time I have everything set up, like there's nobody left in the room, and then the band's like, well, fuck it, just call it. And then I wake up, and it's such a relief to wake up from that.
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah.
That's really stressful. That's like, that brings it up to a whole nother notch.
Man, you said what you said.
I'm just letting
Sorry.
somebody down at LAX, but you're like, there's a whole bunch of people involved.
Before we started this interview, you were like, we're going to get into the real shit here. And I feel like this is really like a psychological evaluation of my brain. Like we're going deep.
We're going a new direction with
Yeah.
this podcast. And I meant it, Paul. And we're delivering.
We did it.
Do you get nervous before going up on stage? Outside of a dream.
Not when I play drums. But I do with Warm Drag because I'm essentially the band, you know, like everything that's not vocals is like all under my control. So if one little thing goes wrong, that's like, it fucks up the whole show.
Yeah.
And so I get nervous, but I have to like, I've been good about practicing a lot more before a show, because there's the writing aspect, but then for the live show, I have to like basically take all the samples and like lay them out on samplers, and which is really tedious and time consuming. And then after that, I have to make sure that like I have to basically mix and EQ everything, which is also tedious and time consuming. So it leaves very little time to actually just practice and like get everything in my muscle memory. So I've been better about just like practicing on my own before a show, just because I'm playing a kick and snare now. So I'm like doing kick and snare with my right foot and left hand, but then with my right hand I'm doing like all the sampler stuff and pedal stuff.
Wow.
But it's, I mean, you know, it's like playing drums. It's just it's like just playing patterns with my hand, you know.
Yeah, but it's like not like this. It's like this, you know.
It's just different. Yeah,
it's way different.
But like, do you play drums at all?
I do.
So, you know, like if you learn a new beat that isn't natural to you at all, you practice it, eventually you just start to get it, and you don't think about it. Your hands and feet just fall into the pattern. And it's the same thing, you know. It's like I'm playing kick and snare and hi-hat, but then like I'm doing this with my hand. It feels really weird at first, but you just do it over and over, and then you kind of just don't think about it anymore. It just becomes like, it's like I'm playing drums, but I'm just playing samplers like a keyboard.
All right, dude, I'm gonna try it and I'll let you know how it goes. What was your first job, Paul? Very first job.
Oh, my first job ever was one of my favorite jobs ever, which was I was valet parking cars at my uncle's restaurant.
Awesome. Was this upstate New York, or was this?
Okay. Yeah, it was like outside of Syracuse, like, and it was in a place. It was at a restaurant that had no business having valet parking because it was super rural. They just wanted it to be like
classy,
yeah. But like, there's plenty of space for parking. You know, it was more just like going through the motions, like, oh wow,
sure,
I haven't seen this before. And like like I said, it was out in the super rural area, and I remember this one guy rolled up in just like a souped up Trans Am, and he literally had, it was like a button down flannel that he pulled the sleeves off, and he rolled up and he's like, oh fuck, man, I didn't know it was this kind of place. And like the valet parkers, we had to wear like a white button down shirt. And so he like eyed me up. He's like, hey, what size are you? Like, medium. He's like, tell you what, man, I'll give you $50 right now if we trade shirts, and then there's another $50 when I come back. How about it? I'm like, let's do it. And so like I gave him my shirt. He gave me his like cut off flannel shirt, and so I wore that for like an hour or so, you know, like parking cars. And yeah, then he came back, gave me the other $50. Seriously, it was like my buddy Keith and I, who actually,
you say Beef?
No, Keith.
Oh, it's a Beef.
I wish I had a fucking friend named Beef. Keith was a big Deadhead. Everything always ties back to the Grateful Dead, but like he also work that job, and so we would just bring a little boombox and listen to Grateful Dead tapes and like sip ice water and eat garlic bread and just park cars. And it was like the best job I ever had.
Dude, you do not look like a parking or like a valet at all. If you're
No,
wearing some dude.
it's funny though.
I've
had a lot of jobs. Like when I lived in Brooklyn for a year, I was working for this place. I've had a lot of driving jobs for some reason, but in Brooklyn, I worked for this fabrication company driving box trucks, driving these like huge set pieces all over town. And like, you know, it's this huge, like, I want to say it was like the biggest box truck you could drive without having a trucker's license.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
But like driving that shit in New York in like January, February with like snow on the ground and going down a one-way street and people park really shitty and the street's already narrow and you're literally just like threading the needle. That was pretty stressful, but I feel like it's made me a better driver.
More observant, yeah.
More observant, yeah. And also like I can definitely fit through there. Like I can eye that up. I can also back up a car or a truck or a car with a trailer like a motherfucker.
A man of many hats, Paul.
That's one of my favorite hats, I have to say.
That's really, yeah, stylish.
Yeah. Respectable.
How would your music career be different if you were still living in Pittsburgh?
I probably wouldn't have one, to be honest. I mean, I was playing with Chick while living in Pittsburgh. Actually, I'd probably still be playing with them, to be honest. So yeah, it would still be there, but I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing.
You'd still be doing it, but just in a different aspect, a different.
Yeah, I don't
way.
think I'd be nearly as busy as I am now.
So you would have time to fix up the jungle room.
I would, yeah.
It would already be done.
Have time.
It would have
been done like 3 years ago.
Yeah, you're already where it needs to be now. You would already been there.
Exactly.
You make those 3 days into 3 years real quick.
Oh my God! Now you're making me want to move back to Pittsburgh.
Would you want to though? Do you?
No.
I mean, like ideally or no?
I love the city. I miss my friends, but like I don't ever want to spend another winter in the Northeast. I don't want to deal with snow ever again. Even though it snows out here every now and then, it only lasts for like a month. Yeah, like it's still snowing in the Northeast. It's like April. Fuck that.
And then people are having to like drive their own cars at the nice restaurant upstate. I mean, you're leaving a lot of people hanging, Paul.
I think that restaurant lasted like a year too. It was not a good business model.
But it was a good year.
It was a great year for me. A great summer. It was a summer job.
Oh, so I mean, like you weren't freezing with that with those
no,
cut off
hell no.
shirt on.
No, that was just like chilling it was like June through August.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I really do appreciate you sitting and chatting with me. I got to have you on more often though, man.
It's always fun.
It's been a year and a month ish.
Has it really?
Give or take. Yeah.
Okay.
No, a year and 2 months actually. Because we did it in February of last year.
Okay. I feel like it was a lot warmer out last time. That's why I couldn't remember when we did it, because I'm like wearing a coat now. I remember it was like nice and warm for some reason.
You're just wearing a jeans shirt, I remember.
Right.
Unbuttoned too. Like that's cash, real cash.
Yeah. I'm not going to a wedding.
No. And you're not parking cars either. That's just what it is. Anyways, Warm Drag is streaming everywhere. Go check that out. And you could buy the ST record, or no, sorry, not record. The records are sold out right now, but it'll be re-upped soon.
Yes.
But the CD is there, and you know that Paul's a CD guy.
If you're into that
I'm
kind
a
of
CD
thing.
guy.
There's tapes too, actually.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Fuck. They're gonna be so. I'm totally spacing on the label. There's a label that put out the cassette version of it too.
We'll
I'll look
go
it up
research. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go research that on your own if you're a tape guy. or
Yeah.
just check Discogs if you're one of those weirdos. But the CD is
Comic book
available
nerd.
is on intheredrecords.com. You can go buy that right now. And the OC's streaming everywhere all the time.
Always.
Go check out their dates on theocs.com. That's where, so you can find that. The levitation sessions are sick, really really cool, all of them. I mean, like, yeah, there's 3 of them, but then there's 2 that just came out recently.
Yeah,
which is really cool. Do you enjoy that more than, I mean, not more than, but like, how is that different recording it live?
It was cool. I mean, it just live for the most part. There are a few songs that we had to redo.
Oh, okay.
I won't say which ones, but
no.
If you watch the one in Joshua Tree, it like all of a sudden it goes from like kind of dusk like this to just straight up nighttime. That's a tell right there.
But it's good. They're all great sessions, and definitely go check them out. They're on YouTube. Levitation put them out. Super cool.
Yeah, Levitation.
Reverb Appreciation Society. Just fucking sick guys over there. And yeah, tour coming up soon, probably, or something.
Yeah, May, and then pretty much all throughout the rest of the year. Europe,
there you go.
UK, United
Paul's
States.
coming to either back up a huge truck or park cars near you. Keep your eye out. Is there anything else we're missing, Paul, before we stop recording here?
I can't think of anything. I think we covered all the bases.
For now. Part 3 is coming out soon.
Next year.
Sooner than a year, hopefully.
All right, cool.
All right, there we go. Paul, thank you so much, and I'm gonna stop recording this. I'll talk to you in a minute.